dude, this
and everybody else is wearing suit and
ties. And I'm like,
do they give you grief for dressing like that?
Not to my face, but maybe
probably
later.
Like this fucking Oregon hillbilly.
Yes, probably. And so, yeah, I don't know why I'm on there. I don't.
Who contacted you?
Or the Interior Department.
So like you're in the middle of a running up Mount Pisgah.
Yeah. And I got a call, Washington, D.C.
Shut the fuck up.
Swear to God. And I'm like, oh my God.
What have I done?
This can't be good. Because it was after, so Trump put out the tweet and he said something like, he doesn't see how hunting for elephants is conservation or helps wildlife. It's a horror show, doesn't help elephants or any other animal, something like that. And I was like, what in the hell is that? What are we talking about? Elephants, talk about elephants, that's fine, whatever. But he said, or any other animal.
Yeah.
So I took that tweet, I posted it and addressed it, and I don't know if he saw it, I don't really know, but soon after that, I got a call for this thing. And so, because I was, I know just from hunting in Africa and how it works, and that hunting is necessary over there if the animals are going to survive. If
That's a complicated story. It's a complicated situation, but people don't want to hear that.
No, and so here's an example of, in Tanzania, there was the largest hunting concession. And I'm trying to think how big it was. I can't put the number on how big it was, but they'd been in business for 40 years. So a hunting concession is they have, hunters from usually America go over there. They pay for the access to the land, and they pay for the right to hunt these animals. So this place had been in business for 40 years. They went out of business because of this import ban. Obama put an import ban on the ivory of elephants coming back as trophies.
But also lions.
And lions.
Yeah. The lion thing was right after Cecil the Lion, and it was done as a political measure.
Right. So he put a ban on, you can go over there and hunt them still. Because, we're from America. We can't say what's legal in Africa. But he can say, what he did was say, well, you can hunt them, whatever, because I can't control that, but you can't bring them home. So nobody's going to go and spend $75,000 to kill an elephant or $50,000 to kill a lion if they can't bring it home, right? So that basically shut down hunting. And this outfit in Tanzania that had been in business for 40 years, they went out of business about, I think it was about 2 months ago now. And what happens is when they don't have the concession, they can't pay for that land, it is given back to the people. And for us here, they'll be like, oh, that's great. You gave the land back to the people. No, it's not good to give the land back to the people there, because the people can't do anything. They don't have any money. They don't. There's like, so what happens is the poachers, as soon as the hunting concession moves out, poachers move in and kill every animal. The only reason the animals that were being protected in that hunting concession was because there was hunting in there. This outfit would spend, I think in the last 3 years, they spent over $2 million on anti-poaching efforts. So $2 million to protect basically their investment, which is those animals that were in there. Yeah, they'd kill a couple because elephants were hunted and they ran the hunts and probably lions. But by and large, they're protecting the majority of the herd. Well,
give me those numbers again, because you were giving me the numbers on elephants legally and illegally killed.
Right. So and I asked this back at our first International Wildlife Conservation Council meeting, and this, PETA was there, and all these animal rights activists. I don't want to say psychos, so that could be disrespectful, but anyway, these extremists were there, and so it was kind of heated in some cases. But I did ask this question: how many elephants are killed legally in Africa each year? And the number is about 400. 400 are killed legally
in the entire continent of Africa.
It's a big area.
So big that you can get America, the United States of America. You can also get all the European countries. You could fit a lot of shit in Africa.
Africa's huge,
place.
Yeah, and so there's some areas where you're not going to hunt elephants because there's not enough, or they don't live there. But there's some areas where there's too many elephants. It's just
that's what's confusing to people. People hear elephants are going extinct. Well, yeah, they are in some places.
Yeah,
and then in other places, the problem is with local farmers. They have these plots of land, and the elephants come in and eat everything and destroy their land, and they can't do anything about it. And what are you going to do this? How big's an elephant? How many thousands of pounds? 10,000 pounds or some shit?
I don't even know. They're huge.
They're huge.
But
they can't do a goddamn thing about it.
They don't care about elephants. The people they're like, the elephant is ruining my crop.
Yeah.
That's what I need to eat.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill the elephant. It's going to lay there and rot.
Yeah. There's these people are starving. I mean, there's a food chain going on there, and humans here where we are, we're so far above the food chain that we're like sitting in a platform looking down watching it. They're embedded in it.
They're ground level. They're in there. It's a whole analogy of you can't have first world people solving third world problems.
Yeah, that's a good point of it.
And it's just we people here have all the answers. It's like you have everything you want. You live in excess.
Yeah.
You're fat. You throw food away. What are you talking about? You have no idea what it's like in Africa. So there, 400 elephants are killed legally. 30,000 are poached a year. 30,000. And the reason that's happening is because the hunting had to move out. The hunting closed down. Or hunting is what pays for the anti-poaching efforts. But when hunting money isn't there, the poachers run rampant. 30,000 elephants. That's why they are devastated.
It's
not hunting.
It's such a hard thing for people to swallow, because this is from the point of view of someone who loves wildlife. I think this is what people want. What they want is the humans to leave the animals alone and the animals to live in this state of bliss where they exist perfectly, and the balance of nature of predator and prey all plays out in a natural way without people going over there and shooting elephants and then sticking their tusks on their wall.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen those pictures of these giant fat fucks holding a rifle, standing over a lion, and you're like, this just looks wrong.
Yeah.
It looks like American gluttony makes its way over to Africa, and some guy shoots a lion with a rifle. Now he's standing on its head, and he's going to put it on his wall in his fat fucking house somewhere. That bothers people.
I get it.
I get it too.
I mean, I'm not arguing that.
Yeah, but you got to fix Africa first.
Yeah.
And you're not trying. So this idea that if you just leave all those animals alone and stop hunting them, everything's going to be fine. No, they're going to be wiped out. People have to look at it pragmatically first, and then idealistically. Because pragmatically, you have to understand that these animals 20 years ago were on the verge of extinction. So many different antelopes, so many different what we would call game animals that people eat, were on the verge of extinction until they started instituting these big hunting concessions and having people come in from Europe and America and hunting in Africa. Then the community started to prosper, because if someone's paying, I don't know, how much is it to shoot like a Nilgai or something like that?
Oh, maybe 1,500.
So think of how many of those things get shot, and some of that money goes to the ranch, some of that money goes to the professional hunting guys, anti-poaching conservation efforts, and then you have unprecedented numbers. There's more of those animals today than there have been in decades.
Yeah.
And it's all because people put value on them.
Yeah, it's all about the animals have to have value. And people say, no, well, the animal has value being alive. It's like, okay.
Well, it does to you. It does to you if you don't live over there, if you're not poor and your children aren't starving to death.
A picture of a lion is amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
And that animal is beautiful. There's value in it being alive. But you got to understand, those people need to eat. They need to work. So if they're not working for the hunting concession, if the hunting concession goes out of business like the largest one in Tanzania did after 40 years, what are they going to do? They can't go get a job at the mill. You know what I mean? There's nothing there's not industry over there. So what happens is some of those people, and I don't know for a fact, but I'm going to make an educated guess that they would go from working as anti-poaching officers or helping keep the animals alive as part of the anti-poaching program straight to poaching.
Yeah, well, that's happened back and forth both ways, right?
Yeah.
Former poachers became anti-poaching officers when the opportunity presented itself.
And they were great ones because they knew how it worked, and they knew where the weaknesses were, and that saved animals. But it's just like it's sad because that last 2 months without that hunting concession there, without the anti-poaching program in place, I guarantee it's been a slaughter. The animals that were being protected are now just being slaughtered by poachers.
And again, the difference between looking at things pragmatically and looking at things idealistically. Idealistically, we would like all those people in Africa to have plenty of food and plenty of opportunity for employment and plenty of things to do with their life, but they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and the situation that had emerged with these hunting concessions is superior to the situation that's in place now.
Yeah.
And it's also superior for the animals themselves, including the lions. In Zimbabwe, they had to kill, look this up, Jamie, see if you could, because they had to cull, I think it was something along the lines of 200 lions recently because they had decimated the ungulate population because they weren't kept in check.
All right.
Because the ungulate, the way these the balance of nature works out is you have to have a balance between predator and prey.
Yeah.
The only way to keep the balance of predator is humans. That's it. It's the only thing that exists unless they keep. Yeah. Zimbabwe Wildlife Reserve will cull 200 lions to control a population explosion, claiming hunters have been scared off by the outcry over Cecil the lion.
Yeah.
The whole thing is so weird because what people just jump on it. You know, that you watch The Lion King. Oh, Simba. No, don't kill Simba. And, oh, Cecil, he's got a name. And all this craziness, it got to such a weird point where there was this discussion about Cecil's brother, that Cecil's brother got killed. Jericho. And they were like, oh, my God, they killed Jericho. And then people were relieved because they found it was a different lion and it wasn't Cecil's brother Jericho. So this is like they're watching a goddamn reality show. It's like keeping up with the Kardashians in Africa. Like, what do you give a shit what the fucking name of the African lion is? You're crazy. It's not Jericho. Oh, it's Michael the lion. So it's okay? That's crazy. It's still a fucking lion. But this shows you this first world view of this wildlife situation that is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination.
I think part of it, like with that, the whole Cecil Lion thing, it gave people a purpose. It's like, oh, I have something to stand for. I have a purpose now. And that's where I know people are struggling out there finding, what's my purpose? What am I doing? You know, and they're spinning their wheels. I don't know what they do, but that gave them something to fight for. And it wasn't right. It didn't help anything. It hurt. Those 200 lions could have been $50,000 each to a hunter. $10 million would have went to Zimbabwe, stayed there, or at least employed people. But no, they were killed, and there was no gain.
Yeah, it still sucks. All across the board, it sucks. The whole situation sucks. These weird high fence operations where they let lions loose and then they let them out of the cage and then people show up that day and the lions don't know what the fuck's going on and they shoot this lion and then stand up. That sucks too.
Yeah, I don't like that.
The whole thing is weird. It's not. Look, wildlife in Africa and high fence wildlife is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. And these animals that were going extinct and now aren't because people were hunting them, it's fucking strange. That's a strange balance. Like that the only reason they exist is so people can come over there and shoot them. Like I don't want that. I mean, I would like them to just exist.
Well, the thing, but people aren't going to contribute that money to pay for the anti-poaching just to go take a picture.
It's like if
it's just not going to happen.
If you go to the Missouri Breaks or something like that, and you go hunting mule deer, like those. That's what I like. I like animals that exist because they're there. This is their spot. This is where they are. Like if you go to the Missouri Breaks and you go up into those hills and look for mule deer, those fuckers have been there for thousands of years. I mean, they have found skulls of deer, of white-tailed deer in Florida that are 2 million years old.
Right.
They're the exact same animal 2 million years ago. So for millions of years, longer than there have been human beings, those things have been in that form running around North America and wherever the fuck they can. That's what I like.
I like that too, but don't forget that hunting has played a part in keeping those numbers healthy.
Sure.
You know, the deer and the elk, there's more deer. There's no big game animals in North America now than there were 100 years ago. And that's through hunting and conservation.
That is true, but it's also because 150 years ago, people went fucking ham and wiped out most of them. I mean, it was real bad when they were doing market hunting before refrigeration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we've learned from that. We learned, okay, this is how we need to do it. This is how hunting fits in this equation. And that's where, you know, we talked about the International Wildlife Conservation Council. That's given me a way in to talk about a bunch of other things too.
Yeah.
So one of those, and we talk about animals in North America, is Ryan Zinke, who's the Secretary of Interior. He created this new, I guess it's a bill. I'm not like this political expert. I'm a bow hunter, right? I wear a flannel shirt and baseball hat, but he did create this. I'm going to call it a bill, but that protects the winter, that we call them wildlife corridors. So it's where the animals can go from the summer range to the winter range, where there's not going to be development there. So he created that because that's how those animals, like in Montana, make it through the winter.
Right.
If they're up in the summer, they make it through getting into fall, and then all of a sudden winter hits. They have to have a way down into the low country to where they can, their winter migration to where they can survive the snow and where they can make down, and there's good feed down there. If there's gas rigs or mineral extraction efforts going on that impede that, then they might get hung up there and get stuck in the snow and die. So he realizes that. He realized the need for that, and he created this new program that's going to make sure that there's no development in there. It keeps those corridors open, and that's why our numbers do so well, is because there's people like that with the vision on keeping our animals healthy.
Well, this